Hi, Mr. Chopra.
Hi Aditya, hi.
Welcome to Sudeep Audio's YouTube channel.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And I should say I'm very honored to have you on the channel. And it's been a full circle for me personally because around 40 years ago, you had interviewed my father for your magazine. And today I am interviewing you on my channel. So it's like,
Good days. I'm
yeah,
proud of you. I'm proud of you. You worked hard on this channel. Great.
thank you, sir. So, to get started, you are known in the audio and video industry in India. You've been working for decades now. I think one of the pioneers in many aspects. So, for many viewers who are, musicians, sound engineers who watch this channel, or thousands of people who come to the great exhibition that you started, an initiative in India called PALM Expo, if you could run us through your journey as to, we would also like to know your background. How did you get into this business? Your learnings. That'll be nice.
Sure. Of course, I would love to share it. Well, it has been very organic. And before I started the magazine for professionalizing the music industry, I would say, rather than the audio industry. So the original motivation was to create a media on the lines of BillBoard. In fact, Playback and Fast Forward was a clone of it was, I mean, in India, everything is copied. So whether it's our great movies or anything else. So Playback and Fast Forward, I started as a duplicate of BillBoard because at that point in time, I was into production of music albums, and we were doing a lot of duplication of cassettes, and we were running studios, doing a lot of mastering, and including studios for live. And of course, your great father Nikhil's studio was a hub where we produced many albums. But basically, the music business in India was either piracy, or there was just one company called HMV. And there was another company in Calcutta called Inrico, but essentially it was a one company industry. And then the cassette came and there was an explosion. I would rather go to the extent of calling it an atomic explosion of creating music. Uh, all the languages, all the genres, all and mushrooming of studios, and everybody who had any dream of being a music producer was producing albums, and every kind of music was being produced, and hundreds of music albums were being released, all on cassette. That was never possible before on the LP, on the vinyl disc. So the cassette unleashed the entire what I would call hidden music in India. And there was all types of new genres coming out with in every language, for example. And it was all homegrown. These were all highly motivated music producers and entrepreneurs who were starting their record labels. And I came from reading BillBoard and seeing how professional the US music business is, and how badly managed, or rather unmanaged, the Indian music industry is, apart from HMV. So I got into a mode where I thought I will create a media for the industry, professionalize the industry, tell them how a professional music business is run, what is the manpower, what is the structure of jobs in a music business, what is a talent scout, he's called a A&R manager, for example. And nothing was known, and everything was chaotic. So the magazine was started, and of course, in parallel, it was definitely there to coach, rather, I would use the word, the studios on how a proper recording is done, and what is professional audio, and things like very rudimentary things like mic placement articles, and articles about head azimuth and recording tape, and those were the tape days. So there was a lot of gungo aspiration about changing the world, for example, and creating this magazine, which and it worked. Hundreds and hundreds of studios were started in India, reading the magazine, understanding what equipment a studio needs, what is a 4-track, what is 8-track, what is 16-track, and things like that. So that was the beginning. And at that point in time, of course, I was involved with the music business. And then later on, of course, we started Playback, and it worked to a large extent, but not so much for the music business, because all the music industry was full of piracy. So they were not going to advertise their music. Most of the pirates graduated to legal music business. But the magazine started working for the professional audio. And so that's where the juice was in terms of advertising, the companies who wanted to sell their microphones and tape recorders. They started advertising. And that's how the magazine got established. So that is it in regard to the starting of the media.
Excellent. So, youngsters of today take it for granted, that everything is now so easily accessible. What you did back then is what, from the summary that you just mentioned, is so much of research, so much of reading, so much of, maybe even going and meeting people, which now happens now, like what we are doing, over two
Yeah,
different.
yeah, it was a very tough, very torturous, very arduous task. I do agree with you. And the music business ran on secret knowledge of supplies. Things were imported or smuggled, and everything was very difficult to get by. And those who knew from where to get anything, they were the ones who were able to do the business and make cassettes or to do duplication. And so that was another big motivation to break open the market by letting everybody know from where everything is available. Giving contacts of your Hong Kong and Chinese manufacturers of things like pressure pads or some other item that is required, and nobody knew from where to get a screw, because you need 5 screws to make a cassette. That in itself was another secret.
Wow.
So it was all about breaking the secrets and giving the information to everybody who wanted to be there and do things.
I think you've done a fantastic job here, because you'll be surprised to know that in the last 20 years that I've been selling software in India, again, piracy is an issue.
Oh, yeah, now for software, yes.
Yeah. Second, people still keep secrets.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in India. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's your source. That's your
So
source. Yeah,
maybe not about the screw, but maybe which plugin to buy or which
exactly,
sound card to
exactly. Not
install.
sharing the knowledge.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I think some things don't change.
yeah. That's what it makes the industry go round. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Post this magazine, what moved you to set up something like Palm? I think it launched in 2002,
2001.
2001. And it was launched, I think, in a very grand manner. I was attending the event at Nehru Center.
Yeah, yeah. It was there. Yeah,
You got A.R. Rahman to inaugurate,
yeah. Yes, yes. There
and I
was
think it was Daman Sood who did the
yes. He
audio.
was looking after the technical part of the magazine. Yeah.
So, how did this come by? Post.
Well, frankly, we all know that publishing is not a profitable business. It's not going to make you a millionaire, and it's more a passion and labor of love. And you also running this channel and interviewing everybody and passing on information. And I'm sure that at every point in time you realize that the satisfaction is in creating the information, creating the media, but it's not as if that publishing is going to make you rich. And the magazine was very difficult to publish financially, and very difficult for ends to meet. And so, of course, the only way that the road was leading to was to organize an exhibition. And again, that also fulfilled the ethos and core of the endeavor, that is to provide information and product information and technology. And so the all the arrows pointed at creating a platform, exhibition platform for audio. And quite honestly, you mentioned his name, and Daman Sood and a lot of the sound engineers at that time, of all the big studios, about five, seven of them, because I was publishing the magazine. So they came and told me that, because audio engineers are very, very highly obsessed about audio engineering. It's not like a video cinematographer as being as obsessed as an audio engineer. They have the audio engineering society, and so they wanted a purely pro audio show. And Daman Sood and the rest of the engineers said, you have to create an exhibition for only pro audio. So you must do that. So you must have only the audio mix, the big desks and the microphones. And then, that time if you wanted an echo, you got an echo machine just to give you the echo. And now everything is digital.
Yes.
But if you wanted a loop, then you have to have another machine. And everything was black boxes, and it was all very technical. And the audio engineers really prided themselves on knowing the audio engineering as such. And it's a difficult job to be a good audio engineer. Very difficult job. There's a lot more knowledge required than pressing the record button in a video camera. And so, because they manually handle every aspect of the recording, whether it is panning or whether it is the treble or the bass or every aspect of it, they have control. They have those millions of knobs to set. They take pride in that. And I had been in the studios and I had seen recordings, and we used to do a lot of mastering for cassette duplication. But when we started the show, even as early as that in 2001, it was started for the audio engineers and the pro audio people. But even at that time, I realized that the recording is an art, and you can't just pass it off as something that the machines do, because the recording engineer, he has to have an artistic ear for the music, and he has to bring his own artistry to the recording. So that was right from the genesis, the Indian Recording Arts Academy, and the fact that this award program, which is very cherished and appreciated by the audio engineers in India today. They love it, and it recognizes them. So it was always there in part of the show. And then, of course, the PALM was created right at the very outset. It keeps changing its meaning, but it was for pro audio, live sound, and for the music recording. And then, that was what it was, and it worked for the very small industry at that time. But the buyers were very enthusiastic to share knowledge of pro audio, because if you have a good mixing desk at that point in time in 2001 in the show, I mean, you would have these audio engineers just come there to feel the knobs, to understand from SSL or from Neve or from, what is the whole desk going to do for them? It was like almost very euphoric for them to get an experience of the equipment.
So in 2011, we I think bumped into each other in a flight going to Frankfurt, where I was going to attend the music messe for the first time. And yeah, and you were also there. I must say that I find Palm exhibition, the expo, it's very international in terms of, the amount of people coming to a Frankfurt music messe was definitely more, but here we have a lot of visitors. Of course, they have a huge place, a dedicated exhibition center here, but at Goregaon, the way you've built it, I mean, kudos to you and the entire team.
Yeah, I would say that the energy of the music recording industry and, of course, the live sound industry has created the bomb. It is only as much as is the Indian market. And live music also, you see, way back in 2001, having a big live gig was very, very rare. Of course, today you have so many international artists coming and going, and there are a lot of huge rental companies, and they provide the entire gear. It wasn't like that in 2001. And it was a big aspiration to have a line array. It was a massive sort of a, joy. If even if somebody else bought equipment, everyone would celebrate that India has a big setup.
Yeah, yeah.
So Palm happened because of the surge of liberation. I would say the liberation in music, of course, took place with the cassette and with the emergence of all these A&R people and music producer. But the music on the stage and the liberation of the country in enjoying the live music, and then the discos, and then the live music in installed spaces also as a movement. So the market moved very rapidly. And what Palm did was provide a meeting ground for distribution of all the products that were coming into the country. And most of the international brands saw India as a big market. They were very happy to come because India was a country where they came and they would find that the average engineer who came to their booth was very knowledgeable. That gave them a lot of satisfaction. And a lot of them had told me so many times that we are surprised when we come to India. Every person who comes to the booth has so much knowledge. In fact, he's saying the engineers have even more knowledge than the boys who come to our booth in Frankfurt. They know everything. It's a pleasure to talk to them about the product. And we like the Indian market for this purpose. We want to be here. It's like for us, it's a great thing to come here and experience the level of knowledge, high level of knowledge quotient that the Indian engineers have. And as you know, and all of us know, that we hunger for knowledge and we hunger to know. I mean, in India, the mantra for life is always to have knowledge and to know, whether it's a secret mantra or whether it is whatever it is,
Yeah, yeah.
we want to know.
We're very curious.
Very, very curious, and we give a lot of weightage to knowledge.
Yes.
So Indian engineers are the best in the world in
I
terms of
agree.
audio engineering. We may not have created the brands, and we may not possess all the international brands,
Yes.
but we know all about audio engineering and about sound, and about what that product can do in terms of features, specs, and so
Oh, yes.
Palm grew out of that, marketplace of both the consumption and demand in the country, as well as the body of professionals that was populating the pro audio industry.
Another feather in the cap, I would say, for you will be the IRAA, which is IRA,
Yeah, IRA awards. Yeah,
which we will talk about in the next episode. So, in this episode, the viewers of the channel and your interview would definitely want to know, how do you manage, now this is on a personal level, how do you manage to take on so much stress? And it's very clear at your age and the number of years you put into this business, this industry, I would say. I think you deserve an IRA lifetime achievement
no,
for
no,
this.
not at
No,
all.
because the
Not IRA.
it's
I'm not a recording engineer.
no, that's fine. Maybe for starting IRA, so kind of a thing. But it's very difficult to find somebody who's so passionate in one particular industry, and you've educated people through your magazine, through articles. You set up a fantastic show. The awards are great and the only of its kind. So, how do you manage these challenges? Because managing one wedding itself, people go white in the hair, and you've been doing it year after year since 2001. That is the exhibition part of it.
Yeah, well, it has been going on every year, successive year. I used to always write successive,
Yes.
but that is not going to happen now because of the 2 years gap. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
You can delete those years.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Memories.
successive thing is gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Consecutive, no. Successive, okay.
Yeah. So, what are those traits that you think in from your childhood, maybe in your upbringing, maybe in the college you went to, or maybe the experiences that you got by traveling all over the world? If youngsters can, get inspired by some things that you can share that will help them take on challenges, whether tough times or not, because everybody faces them one at one point or the other. What is it that drives you? What is it that keeps you going on? If you could share.
Well, actually, well, I think almost the level of commitment to ambition or to having a sense of achievement. I think the entire middle class in India harbors this sentiment very strongly about being a success, about having done something, achieved something. I think it is part of our psyche, of every Indian psyche. He likes to redeem his life with a sense of achievement. This is, I think, very Indian in nature. We all are entrepreneurs for this reason. We want to do something, and I would call it the Indian dream, where everyone nurtures the hope of uh, being enormously successful in his business or in otherwise in whatever else he does or doesn't do. And very, very personally speaking, I mean, when our family came to Bombay in 47, and you'll of course be surprised, but that even at that time and even before partition, the family was into pro audio very, very strongly. And so we used to, my father used to, he had set up in India as soon as he came, manufacturing amplifiers. And so, I mean, valve amplifiers and then radios. So the family had a very strong passion about it. And at that time, we were partnering with Hitachi to make 3-band radios. And we were making Maguire amplifiers from London, and we were making microphones and record players. So we had a factory, we were making all these things. And so my father achieved a lot. And he launched India's first transistor at 70 rupees and called Embassy. And there used to be long lines in Delhi and Bombay where a family's first transistor was the transistor my father made. And he got all the technology from Japan. And he went there in the 50s and he brought back all of the technology from the Japanese to make a small medium wave transistor. So within the family, of course, this sentiment of going out there and doing things, it was very strong. It wasn't as if anybody was in a government job and or in the army, or we were cowboys, all of us. And, so we used to do that kind of thing, work 24 hours. And it wasn't always the question of money, but it is a question of achievement. And so when the family graduated with the outside of this whole electronic manufacturing and, went into the cassette business. And then when I decided to leave the cassette or leave the family business and start media and start a magazine, I knew that I had to work hard to make it work. So that was there. And working hard and doing it, I think it comes normally to all Indians, all of us, especially all of us born in the big cities. And we know that we are the ones who have to do it. I mean, you can't expect somebody to do it who does not have the exposure. So that sense of responsibility is there. And of course, I've been very lucky in terms of all the people who joined me in my journey with Palm or with all the magazines. At one time, we were having 4 magazines, and we were doing 3, 4 exhibitions.
Yes.
And so they all were very committed. I mean, they instantly absorbed the spirit
Mm.
that this is not a company that is out to make profit. It's a company that is out to do things.
Yeah.
So that spirit was, uh, you know, uh, absorbed by everybody, every team member who came to the company. Yeah, and they did it. I must say they did it. A lot of, as you rightly said, financial stress and a lot of hard work and a lot of proselytizing and converting industry to believe in the media, lot of painful ad selling, lot of conviction and missionary work in trying to make them participate, and all of that was there. And that everyone did their bit, I must say, every last one, without necessarily taking names, but everybody did that, and they all are successful today, and they're all doing what they love. So but at the end of the day, it's the market, and it's the industry, the whole industry that should take the credit. I mean, IRAA, you'll be shocked. We get 1,400 nominations.
Yeah.
So look at the level of conviction and belief of the engineers to submit their nomination.
Yeah.
It is that which is creating the prestige of the award. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, as you said, we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Yes. Mr. Chopra, it was really nice talking to you and get to know a little bit about your background. I'm sure you've achieved a lot more, and people will realize it, if not, they've already realized by now. But your contribution to the audio industry has been immense, and I thank you personally for that.
Thank you, Aditya. It's very kind of you.
And I'm sure you've done your father a lot of proud wherever he's
Yes,
definitely proud of
I'm
you.
happy about that. Yes, you're right. You're right. And yeah, it's been a good journey. Yeah.
So I'll see you in the part 2 where we'll talk about IRA specifically.
Yeah.